What the? Get lost, you pervert. Oh. Welcome to the Trash Picture Show. Apologies about him, he's a bit frisky lately. I'm going to be looking over some of my single issues of Alien and Predator comics, starting off with the movie adaptation of Predators. This is an okay comic. The first two issues are pretty awesome. The interior art is pretty cool as well. I'll give you a quick look at that. I have it in graphic novel form, but the latter parts of the book are not great. I'll just show you here now. It focuses on the character of Drake, the body found by the heroes at the start of the Predators movie, and explains how he came to the planet and his interactions with Noland. The covers are pretty awesome. The likenesses to both Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne are pretty uncanny. Really kind of moody, kind of atmospheric covers. And yeah, Dark Horse does a wicked job. The latter stories are not great, but for the most part, the subsequent prequel stories are pretty awesome. Next up, Predator. This is the kind of relaunch comic that included Pray to the Heavens, Tree World War, and More Than Human. These are actually pretty awesome comics. This one tells the story of a group of mercenaries taking on a bunch of bad bloods in Africa during a civil war. Pretty awesome comic. Covers are pretty cool. The artwork is very reminiscent of Mel Ruby stuff from the late 90s, early 2000s. So if you are a Predator fan, do check it out. Speaking of Mel Ruby, these are the Xenogenesis stories. These are pure 90s comics. Essentially, a task force is set up to take out a renegade bunch of predators. These people have their genetics enhanced, so they have more of a fight and flight kind of sensory input into their bodies. It's made up of different people who've had encounters with predators and survived. And it's another story that establishes if you kill and eat the heart of a predator, the longevity of your life is increased. And they are pretty cool, but they're pretty bombastic as well. The art style is a bit over the top. Predator, Big Game, awesome comic. I went over this one before in the graphic novel form when I was doing my Predator 2 review. Essentially, a Native American decides to take on a predator when it lays siege to his town, and the artwork is pretty amazing. It's the first kind of really interesting standalone Predator story, and again, the exterior artwork is awesome. The interior artwork, it's passable. It's not anything to sing home about, but it is pretty interesting. Like, there are parts like that do give it a kind of really gravitas, and it is a must read if you're a fan of any of the Predator comics from Dark Horse. Next up, yes, this exists. Then again, I can't be too surprised because Archie has already gone up against Punisher, so I think Predator was a next kind of choice. I gotta love the tagline. Beach games, party games, the most dangerous game. So yeah, Archie goes up against Predator, and it's silly, harmless fun. And I just had to get issue 1 because of that cover, man. Next up, Predator versus Magnus Robot Hunter. This is a character from Valiant, and he ends up going against Predator. Not a great comic, but the kind of crossover affair comics rarely are great unless you've got a really good writer behind it. This is passable, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get it. I got it on the cheap, and that's why I picked it up. Cover is interesting though. I do like the look and the aggression of the Predator on the cover, so well worth a look. Another Xenogenesis comic. Mel Ruby actually kind of done a bunch of these during the late 90s, early 2000s. And this is a AVP one, which sees a brother and sister hired to break into a Weyland-Yutani storehouse, and they think they're going to get a big score, and it actually turns out to be a storage area for xenomorph eggs. So a predator uses the chance to come in and hunt both the aliens and the crew, and it's up to the brother and sister to get out alive and stop the contamination of the planet by xenomorphs. So really good comic. Cool Dark Horse Presents comic has an awesome ghost story in it as well. If you don't know who Ghost is, she's a kind of assassin, spectral assassin, and this one has a kind of cool nod back to the original AVP comic. Bobby Sheldon, the child who survives the predator attack on his ranch, has set up a trap for any predators in a particular star system, and some space pirates end up getting caught in it as well. And it's just, you just see how bad revenge has made Bobby Sheldon, now Robert Sheldon, and he doesn't care about anyone else's life. The cover on this is amazing. I love the cover. Very gritty, kind of mean looking artwork, and yeah, another cool AVP single. Speaking of classic AVPs, I have book issue 3 of the re-release, and yeah, this is actually the issue that has the attack on Bobby Sheldon's homestead in on Rushi, and it is a cool kind of comic, because this 3 is where it really kicks off. It is the halfway point between the issues, and yeah, the kind of protagonist Michiko Nagachi is kicked into drive in this comic when both the Sheldon family is killed, bar Bobby, and they find the remains of Broken Tusk is brought back to the colony, and that kind of goes, okay, we gotta get shit sorted. Cool comic, classic comic. If you get a chance, do check it out. It is well worth a look. Next up, I have this awesome AVP annual. I'll give you a quick look of it. It is a very substantial kind of comic because it's got a bunch of cool stories, all Alien versus Predator stories. This is a cool one about a Marine, and she has a vendetta against the Predator, and she's trying to lead it into a trap. There's another one that appears to have one of the failed Ripley clones lead an army of xenomorphs against predators on an unknown planet. And yeah, Mel Ruby art. His art is cool, but it definitely is a bit too bombastic for its own good. The art in the first one, I'm just gonna check it. David Ross, his art is amazing. I mean, look at that. Look at the detail on that. That is wicked. Essentially, both a predator warrior and the head of a colony decide to go on a suicide mission, and yeah, they have to bring down this orbital platform into the core of a planet. It has some great pin-up work as well back here, and if you can get your hands on it, do track it down. It is awesome. It is a beautiful book, and I'm going to bag it because I've kept this in really good nick, and I want it to remain that way. Yeah, it is kind of sad. Segueing, it is sad that the Alien vs Predator movies could not kind of get the source material right. For the fact is, all the Alien vs Predator stories are all set in the future, and they work best in the future. They work best not in like a contemporary setting, be it the Antarctic or fucking Pungdo, America. Next up, 3 World War. This is actually the end of Michiko Nagachi's existence in the AVP universe. These books were retconned with the arrival of the Fire and Stone series, which really pisses me off, because Michiko was cool and introduced the idea the Bad Bloods, the Berserker Predators, were able to control aliens and were declaring war on different systems. I have 2 issues of it here. That one's pretty cool, but that is my favourite, just like how fucking crazy it is. if you can do get the collected edition of this, it's pretty awesome, and it ties into Pray to the Heavens and More Than Human. The comic. There's a character synthetic by the name of Sardasa that turns up in this book, and if you can get the complete edition, if you can get it, it is well worth checking out. Decade of Dark Horse. This is awesome because it has a really cool short story in it, which I will show you. It is essentially a origin story, or a kind of introduction story to the Greyback from Predator 2, and the artwork in it is beautiful. I'll show you. It's essentially Predator 1718, and it's a bunch of pirates, and they mutiny on their captain, and the captain ends up fighting and then getting into a rather uneasy alliance with the Predator warrior. If you can see the artwork there, and he takes the captain's flintlock pistol and gives him his extendable cutlass, and it is cool because it does show that to an extent that the Predators are an honourable race. They're not just killers, they are tribesmen and honourable kind of creatures. Next up, I have a complete collection of Aliens Kidnapped. Essentially, kind of genetically modified alien egg, is brought to the this kind of pleasure planet by a bunch of smugglers. And the thing is, with this mutated version of an alien, it actually is it's malfested. It doesn't grow, but if it bites you, you spontaneously combust. It's bizarre, but the artwork is kind of it's I don't know how to explain it. It looks very like a kind of political satire comic. I'll show you now. This kind of really kind of weird satire-y kind of. You'd see something in a political comic, and it's done a lot more for humor rather than any kind of general comic. It's not a very legitimate kind of alien story. It doesn't really follow into any of the continuity, but they are interesting and they are pretty cool and messed up. If you can get a chance, do track it down. It's a lot of these, actually, not just this one. A lot of these can be found in the Aliens omnibuses. So if you get a chance, do check out some of the Aliens omnibuses. Another cool Dark Horse Presents. This one is actually Corporal Hicks's After Actual Report, and it's pretty cool. It just shows scenes from the movies, and it ties into the Aliens Fire and Stone, that essentially the cargo skiff made it off planet onto the Prometheus planet, and if you've read Aliens Fire and Stone, it connects to that. A couple other cool stories in this as well, kind of Hellboy ones, and if you're a fan of Dark Horse, do check out these Dark Horse Presents books, because they have some awesome segments from other comics. Next up, this is an amazing series. I was actually lucky enough to interact and chat to Tristan Jones, and Aliens Defiance is an amazing comic, and it's actually Dark Horse's longest running Aliens comic for a long period of time. They just had maybe four issue blocks, like you'd have a 4-parter. This is actually a 12-parter. This is one a month. It's going to continue on for the year, and this is issue 2. The story is essentially set in between the events of Alien and Aliens around the same time as Alien Isolation, which spoilers, just skip this video a couple of minutes, spoilers, but Amanda Ripley cameos in this comic. But essentially the main story is Zulu Hendrix has basically been recruited by a bunch of combat androids that seem to have developed a kind of higher processing kind of levels. They actually take it upon themselves, the synthetics take it upon themselves to hunt down and eradicate every xenomorph in the galaxy for the protection of mankind. So it has me thinking. Bishop says that he cannot allow harm, or by mission of action allow humans to be harmed. It seems that that actually wasn't programmed. That program evolved. The ghost and the machine gave these androids a soul, and I'm just wondering, did Weyland-Yutani say they programmed that into them to kind of cover up? Oh well, we've made machines that now can think and feel. And the character Zula Hendrix is awesome. She obviously has some skeletons in her closet, and she doesn't trust the synthetics fully, but she does want to prove that she can do what these guys' missions have planned, and it is wicked. And if you get a chance, do check it out. Brian Wood writes an awesome story, and Tristan Jones' art is wonderful. I'll actually show you some of the artwork, because it is an amazing comic. Just look at that. Is that not beautiful? Is that art not amazing? And yeah, just I can't wait to actually collect the full book. It is hard to get single issues of late, but if you can, if you're near a comic book shop, do collect this if you're an Alien fan, because it is well worth a look. And yeah, Dark Horse have returned to form when it comes to Aliens. Next up we have the Alien 3 adaptation, and it's pretty cool. Now the artwork has dated, but I will show you something that you might find interesting. In the original draft, it was actually Newt that was infected, and essentially, hang on, I'll just show you this now. Essentially, I don't know if you can see that, Newt drowns, and the larval chest burster comes out and looks for Ripley, and I'll just show you this now. It looks for Ripley and goes into Ripley's mouth. So that's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool that that kind of made it into the comic. And again, the artwork is a creature of its time. It is a movie adaptation, but it is still an interesting comic because they put in some stuff that didn't make it into the movie. It seems that they've incorporated stuff from the extended edition of Alien 3 with Golic and such forth. And this is a really good rendition of the comic. They even have the Bambi burster and such forth. Covers are cool. They're done by, I think, Arthur Sidam. And yeah, Arthur Sidam. Say what you will about him. He's a bit of a jerk from what I've heard, but his covers are actually pretty awesome. So if you can track them down, I don't think any of the movie adaptations by Dark Horse were collected in the omnibuses, but if you can, do try and track it down. Next up, Aliens Hive. This is pretty cool run. Essentially, a thief and a synthetics expert decide to pull off a heist on the alien homeworld and steal royal jelly with the aid of the synthetic engineers, synthetic xenomorph, and it's a pretty cool comic. I think I actually saw the one of the panels for this, one of the covers for this was actually on a Pearl Jam t-shirt. I don't know if that was officially licensed or not, but it was interesting to see. I'll just show you the interior art here, and yeah, real funky looking kind of art. So again, it has been collected, and you can definitely find it in the omnibuses, the Aliens omnibuses, and if you get a chance, do check it out. Next up, another Dark Horse presents Decade of Dark Horse. This is a one-shot story about this jerk who people are pushing around, and he decides to allow an infestation of aliens aboard his salvage ship. And interesting story. You have other stuff as well. You have a Mask one-shot, Nexus one-shot, and an Outlanders one-shot. As I said, the Dark Horse Presents books are wicked, and if you can get your chance, if you can get your hands on them, do. They're wicked, okay? Next up, this is amazing. This is the second volume in the kind of the Hicks and Newt kind of storyline, but they were called Wilkes and Billy. But yeah, check out these covers. They're amazing. That is beautiful covers. This is my favorite actually. Just look at that. And the interior work, the interior art is like amazing. Also cool little thing with this. If I can show it to you now, I'll try and show you. This is hard to put together without messing up the comics, but I will try my best. I'm gonna be messing with the camera again, but there's probably a sheen there, but I don't know if you can see that. But on the backs of the covers, they have a very cool kind of poster. And yeah, a lot of people are always going, why do you collect singles? Like, and it's stuff like this that makes me want to collect singles. It is cool to have some of these issues as well, because the variant covers, and just there's stuff at the back with like where people write in and ask, and it's interesting and it's cool. And I'm a nerd, that's why. But yeah, one of the best artworks for an Aliens comic for the time when it came out. It was awesome artwork, and you know what, it still is awesome artwork. Next up, these guys, Colonial Marines, the Aliens Colonial Marine comics. Some of the art is great, some of it is kind of gash. The story falls flat in its arse, and it seems to end abruptly. The only standout thing about it is Vasquez's younger sister is in it, and it's just it's a bit of a mess of a story, but the covers are cool. And if you're a completist and you like your Aliens comics, do definitely check these ones out. But that's only if you're a completist. Next up, a spin-off character from Aliens Colonial Marines, Mondo Pest. Real tongue-in-cheek kind of comic. Imagine Duke Nukem if he was hired to hunt aliens, and then you have Mondo Pest. I think this one he rescues 2 bikini models from a planet filled with volcanoes that is overrun with aliens, and they pay him in beer. It's fairly silly. If you do get a chance, do check out Mondo Pest. Really fun. Lovesick. What issue is this? Oh, it's a one-shot. Lovesick is about a secret agent who is babysitting a young boy, and she ends up dragging him into an adventure with a former Weyland-Yutani scientist and his army of giant aliens. Again, another one-shot, fairly fun. This does appear in the Aliens Omnibus, and if you are a die-hard fan, do check it out. Next up, Aliens Berserk. What issue is this? 1 of 4. This is the first issue of this, and essentially it's about a team. Again, kind of they're exterminators in the expanded universe in Aliens. After the events of kind of Female War, it goes a couple of years, about 50-60 years into the future, and xenomorphs are just more of a pestilence than an actual planetary threat. So you do have people just turning up to get rid of aliens, and they have this mech suit, and the characters from this end up in Alien vs Predator, and I think the operator, the mech suit, ends up becoming Machiko Nagachi's lover. So yeah, if you do get a chance, do check out Berserk. It is a cool story. Next up, Survival. This is weird. This is a Walter Mitty like story involving aliens, where this kind of guy, he's hooked up to a Matrix like system and he's using it to battle aliens. And it's weird, it's trippy, it's psychedelic, but if you're a fan of aliens, do check it out. Really fun. Like the events of Alien 3, a lot of religious stories came out, and alchemy does seem to be kind of the recycled idea for aliens, where you have a heroine on the planet and she's thrown into the bowels of the monastery only to encounter synthetic. So when it came to alchemy, alchemy essentially is the original kind of Vincent Ward script of Aliens, and it's a must if you are an Aliens fan. I did hear that there was going to be Dark Horse, like with the original Star Wars story being released, there was going to be a Vincent Ward Alien 3 story released, but that hasn't come to pass. But alchemy does do the job. Next up, another Xenogenesis run. Again, as I said before, this is essentially a kind of, they're exterminators. They go from planet to planet and they wipe out alien infestations. And this one's weird because it has a synthetic George Washington and Abraham Lincoln just blasting aliens. I think they're in this one, I'll have a look. But again, it's basically glorified kind of bug hunters. And I'll see if I can find synthetic Abraham Lincoln and synthetic George Washington. Where are you hiding, lads? Where are you hiding? Can't seem to find them. Bugger. I think I have the wrong book. Yeah, apparently I have the wrong book. Let's try another one. Give me 1 second. Try this one. But yeah, no, some of the alien stories go a bit too far. I think the stuff that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s went a bit beyond the pale, so to speak. But you have to enjoy how crazy some of these stories get, because it is interesting to kind of maybe I was tripping. I'm probably tripping balls or something. I genuinely thought there was a synthetic Abraham Lincoln and George Washington in this book. Oh man, I am going crazy. I haven't read them in a long time. But yeah. Yeah, I've gone cuckoo. Anyway, I'll show you the last bunch of them. They're fairly recent as well. Aliens, More Than Human. This is one of the tie-in alien story to 3 World War, and it focuses on a synthetic called Sardesa, who kind of takes it upon himself to understand the aliens intimately. And very cool, very interesting story, well worth a look. Next up, Life and Death series. These are pretty cool. They are follow-ups to the Fire and Stone series, and essentially a bunch of colonial marines land on a planet and try and commandeer a jockey ship, but they have to face off against a rather tenacious bunch of predators. Artwork in it is actually pretty wicked. I do really like the artwork in this comic, and it is cool to see colonial marines facing off against predators, no aliens. And then we have this one, which has some more awesome artwork, and it is essentially the marines get on board the jockey ship and end up on the planet from Prometheus. So I'm fairly sure they're going to encounter the characters from Fire and Stone as a result, because this is at the same time period. So that is my entire Aliens and Predator and AVP singles collection. If you're a comic fan or if you have any questions on anything from the Alien or Predator universe, leave them in the comment below. My name's Martin, this has been the Trash Picture Show. Like, subscribe, and have a good one. Take care. Bye now.